Welcome to Reflections on Our Divine Calling, excerpt from the essay Spiritual Laws by Ralph Waldo Emerson, vegetarian, on Words of Wisdom. Ralph Waldo Emerson was a renowned 19th century American essayist, philosopher, lecturer, poet, and a leader of the transcendental philosophical movement. His literature influenced many celebrated writers, including Henry David Thoreau and Walt Whitman. Emerson is most famous for his essays, through which he expresses ideas of freedom, spirituality, individuality, the great ability of humans to realize almost everything, and the relationship between the soul and the surrounding world. Ralph Waldo Emerson traveled widely, giving lectures, and became well known for his publications, essays, and nature. Today, we will read a selection from Ralph Waldo Emerson's essay entitled Spiritual Laws. In it, the philosopher reflects on the precious gift of each person's vocation, which plays an important role in the unfolding of one's spiritual life. Spiritual Laws. I say, do not choose, but that is a figure of speech by which I would distinguish what is commonly called choice among men, and which is a partial act, the choice of the hands, of the eyes, of the appetites, and not a whole act of the man. But that which I call right or goodness is the choice of my constitution, and that which I call heaven, and inwardly aspire after, is the state or circumstance desirable to my constitution, and the action which I, in all my years, tend to do, is the work for my faculties. We must hold a man amenable to reason for the choice of his daily craft or profession. It is not an excuse any longer for his deeds, that they are the custom of his trade. What business has he with an evil trade? Has he not a calling in his character? Each man has his own vocation. The talent is the call. There is one direction in which all space is open to him. He has faculties silently inviting him thither to endless exertion. He is like a ship in a river. He runs against obstructions on every side but one. On that side, all obstruction is taken away, and he sweeps serenely over a deepening channel into an infinite sea. This talent and this call depend on his organization, or the mode in which the general soul incarnates itself in him. He inclines to do something which is easy to him, and good when it is done, but which no other man can do. He has no rival. For the more truly he consults his own powers, the more difference will his work exhibit from the work of any other. His ambition is exactly proportioned to his powers. The height of the pinnacle is determined by the breadth of the base. Every man has this call of the power to do somewhat unique, and no man has any other call. The pretense that he has another call, a summons by name, and personal election, and outward signs that mark him extraordinary, and not in the role of common men, is fanaticism, and betrays obtuseness to perceive that there is one mind in all the individuals, and no respect of persons therein. By doing his work, he makes the need felt which he can supply, and creates the taste by which he is enjoyed. By doing his own work, he unfolds himself. It is the vice of our public speaking, that it has not abandonment. Somewhere, not only every orator, but every man should let out all the length of all the reins, should find or make a frank and hearty expression of what force and meaning is in him. The common experience is that the man fits himself as well as he can to the customary details of that work or trade he falls into. Then is he a part of the machine he moves. The man is lost. Until he can manage to communicate himself to others in his full stature and proportion, he does not yet find his vocation. He must find in that an outlet for his character, so that he may justify his work to their eyes. If the labor is mean, let him by his thinking and character make it liberal. Whatever he knows and thinks, whatever in his apprehension is worth doing, that let him communicate, or men will never know and honor him aright. Foolish, whenever you take the meanness and formality of that thing you do, instead of converting it into the obedient spiracle of your character and aims. We like only such actions as have already long had the praise of men, and do not perceive that anything man can do may be divinely done. What we call obscure condition or vulgar society is that condition and society whose poetry is not yet written, but which you shall presently make as enviable and renowned as any. In our estimates, let us take a lesson from kings, the parts of hospitality, the connection of families, the impressiveness of death, and 1,000 other things. Royalty makes its own estimate of, and a royal mind will. To make habitually a new estimate, that is elevation. What a man does, that he has. What has he to do with hope or fear? In himself is his might. Let him regard no good as solid, but that which is in his nature, and which must grow out of him as long as he exists. The goods of fortune may come and go like summer leaves. Let him scatter them on every wind as the momentary signs of his infinite productiveness. He may have his own, a man's genius, the quality that differences him from every other, the susceptibility to one class of influences, the selection of what is fit for him, the rejection of what is unfit, determines for him the character of the universe. A man is a method, a progressive arrangement, a selecting principle, gathering his like to him wherever he goes. He takes only his own out of the multiplicity that sweeps and circles round him. He is like one of those booms which are set out from the shore on rivers to catch driftwood, or like the lodestone amongst splinters of steel. Those facts, words, persons, which dwell in his memory, without his being able to say why, remain, because they have a relation to him not less real for being as yet unapprehended. They are symbols of value to him, as they can interpret parts of his consciousness, which he would vainly seek words for in the conventional images of books and other minds. What attracts my attention shall have it, as I will go to the man who knocks at my door, whilst 1,000 persons as worthy go by it to whom I give no regard. It is enough that these particulars speak to me, a few anecdotes, a few traits of character, manners, face, a few incidents, have an emphasis in your memory out of all proportion to their apparent significance. If you measure them by the ordinary standards, they relate to your gift. Let them have their weight, and do not reject them, and cast about for illustration and facts more usual in literature. What your heart thinks great is great. The soul's emphasis is always right. For more of Ralph Waldo Emerson's selected works and essays, please visit emersoncentral.com. Gallant viewers, it was an honor to be in your kind presence for today's Words of Wisdom entitled Reflections on Our Divine Calling, excerpt from the essay Spiritual Laws by Ralph Waldo Emerson, vegetarian.